9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling network on the planet.
It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Well, you kind of know the rest, but we'll get into Dynamite later. But this is your PR princess, your timeless elite, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me, on this Wednesday edition of WWT Live. I know I was on for a little bit on Monday, but I'm happy to be back with you all on this Wednesday. It is hump day. We're just getting through the middle of the week because we do have a lot of news to cover happening in the wonderful world of professional wrestling. But thankfully, I'm not alone for this. And I am very happy that she came back and she has been a good part of WWT. I'm very happy to have Miss Hope back in the building.
Hey, y'all. Good to see you. Happy Dynamite Wednesday.
Yes, it's Dynamite Wednesday. How has your Wednesday been so far?
Fantastic. The weather is beautiful here in the nation's capital. How are things where you are?
It's been good. It's a little chilly in New Jersey. I mean, the sun is out, but it is very chilly. I know spring's supposed to happen last week, but it'll be warmer weather soon.
It's March. We could still get snow again. It's crazy.
It is. It is. That's the crazy part. We could get it possibly in April. You never know.
Very true. Very true. Hopefully our folks who are listening out there are having a great day as well and is ready for some exciting wrestling action, talk, commentary, all that other good stuff.
Yes. Shout out to Eric Isaac in the chat. Shout out to Jonathan Lamba in the chat. We do have some big news, and it actually happened yesterday on WWE socials and Triple H's socials. Psycho Sid! We found out yesterday he will be inducted in the Hall of Fame as a legacy inductee and a member of this year's class of 2026. We already know Stephanie McMahon, AJ Styles, Demolition, Dennis Rodman are already in. But now with Psycho Sid, he is finally in the Hall of Fame. And Hope, I just wanted to get your reaction on this. And do you have any memories that you had of watching Psycho Sid on television?
Oh, gosh. I am so happy about this. I remember the first time I actually met Psycho Sid. I knew him as Sid Vicious in WCW. I remember so vividly. I was backstage at the Coliseum and I was sitting down and I felt a presence and I looked down and saw these large feet and I was literally like, and looking down on me was Psycho Sid Vicious with the biggest smile on his face. And I was like, OMG. Such a nice guy, such a great guy, and a wonderful talent. And he was in an era where I was concerned he might get lost. He made some significant contributions, and I'm so happy. Obviously, I wish he were still here, but I'm happy for his family. I'm happy for the fans, so that they too can learn more about the variations of Sid, Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious, because I remember vividly when he broke his leg in the ring. That was not a pretty sight, but well deserved. And I'm so happy that WWE thought this was appropriate. Well done. Congrats, Psycho Sid.
I know. It's crazy. He passed away, unfortunately, in 2024. Mm-hmm. And when news broke out, it really kind of put a shock waves in the wrestling business. Yes. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch it in present time with Sid because I was an infant. I was a little baby at that time. But I was aware of Psycho Sid and the impact that he made in that era. And just seeing him being that larger than life superstar in WCW and WWE, and even Boza mentioned this in ECW. He has made an impact And even to this day, people still remember him. And it's kind of crazy because I have to play this clip from WCW with he was feuding with Goldberg on here.
Oh my! What happened to my car? Goldberg! Where are you? Goldberg! Goldberg! Goldberg!
Hey Moses, where's my car, man?
Space 22, man.
22.
22! Oh man! Oh man! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Goldberg! Where are you? Why me? Why me? Why me?
I had to play that clip because it was too funny.
That's hilarious. Oh, classic Psycho Sid. Classic.
It is. And also his son did talk about it earlier today with his dad being inducted. So hopefully we will see him during the Hall of Fame when they do Psycho Sid. But so far, as I mentioned, Psycho Sid is the latest inductee for the Hall of Fame next to Stephanie McMahon, AJ Styles, Demolition, and Dennis Rodman. So congratulations to him. And the Hall of Fame is creeping up a bit. It's creeping up a bit.
Congrats to all of the inductees. Absolutely.
Yes. And we go from one Hall of Famer, future impending Hall of Famer, to a current Hall of Famer, Paul Bearer. Tragic news that happened. His son, Daniel Moody, passed away today. He passed away today. And also there was news that his death was announced on Tuesday by Steve Staviak, a Book Pro wrestler. Daniel was the last surviving member of the immediate Moody family. His father, Paul Bearer, died in 2013. His mother, Diana, died in 2009. And his brother, Michael, died in 2014 at the age of 34. We all know who Paul Bearer was. He was one of the most recognizable figures in WWE history as being the manager of The Undertaker and Kane. And before he joined the WWF in 1990, he managed many people ranging from Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rick Rude, Lex Luger, The Ultimate Warrior under his name, Percy Pringle III. But also, if you see in this photo, Daniel and his brother Michael were accepting their dad's induction into the Hall of Fame in 2014. But we here at Women's Wrestling Talk want to send our condolences to the entire Moody family.
Absolutely. I heard about his passing, but I didn't realize he was the last surviving member of the immediate family. It's tragic because it's truly the end of an era. You know, I remember Paul Bearer when he was Percy Pringle. He was a mess as Paul Bearer. He was a mess as Percy Pringle. Brought us so much joy throughout the years. And, you know, it's always tragic. Do we know what happened to him?
No, they didn't say.
Wow, just so young. And it's difficult. We lost Dennis Condrey earlier this week or last week. And granted, he was older, but it's like when someone passes in the wrestling industry for whatever reason, it seems to hit different. Thoughts and prayers to, you know, those who remember him, and just very sad to hear.
Yeah, it's always sad. And then the person that you mentioned, he passed away last week. And obviously, if you heard of Monday Night Raw, they did give an acknowledgement. And also on Collision over the weekend, Tony Schiavone also acknowledged it during the broadcast as well. So it's very hard because we see so many people, especially in like the 80s and the 90s, that people grew up with as children and teenagers. It's very hard to take that in. And especially passing away at a young age, that's very scary. That's why I always tell people, please protect Jesse the Body Ventura, along with many others from that era, because they are treasures. We don't want to hear about them. Just protect all of them. But in all seriousness, we here at Women's Wrestling Talk do want to send condolences to the entire Moody family in this tragic time.
Absolutely. It's one of the reasons why I'm rooting for Charlotte to hit 16 before Flair passes. I mean, from what I understand, he's in reasonably good health, but Flair's at that age with the health challenges and everything. So I personally am rooting that because she's going to hit 16.
Oh yeah.
Barring there are no injuries, of course. But just want him to be around to see that. He deserves that. I think the wrestling world deserves. I mean, seriously, can you imagine his being in the audience, having her hand raised for 16? You
He
know,
would
love him or hate him.
he would be a proud dad at that moment. I could see him being a little teary-eyed.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The warmth in that, just looking forward to that day and hoping and praying he'll be here to see it.
Yes, I hope so too. And another warm-filled moment that we have, WWE Unreal. I know people have mixed feelings about WWE Unreal with everything, but we did have a quick announcement courtesy of WWE on their socials. WWE Unreal has been nominated for 3 sports Emmy Awards. They've been nominated for Outstanding Sports Documentary Series, Serialized, Outstanding Sports Editing Long Form, and Outstanding Sports Graphic Design Specialty. So that's a huge deal. I know people have mixed feelings about it, but it's kind of huge being nominated for sports Emmys. But it has been a hit. People have been watching, especially on Netflix, and trying to get the audience reeling in. But Hope, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this, because this is a huge surreal deal, especially with the fact, even though there's been mixed reviews about WWE Unreal, they're nominated for 3 Emmys.
That part, here's the thing. I too am one of those who have mixed feelings, but at the end of the day, I remember WWE when it was WWF. I remember when they were trying to, I mean, professional wrestling would never make the news, period. And it would never make ESPN, never. That WWE is a part of the ESPN family, that they are a part of the Netflix era, that they've achieved this, even if they don't win, that they got the nod. Kudos to them. That's a big deal, like the show or not. That's a huge win for the wrestling industry. So kudos to WWE for making this happen.
It's a big deal because like I said, I've had mixed feelings about WWE Unreal as well. I think I watched a few episodes, but it was like, oh, okay. But obviously, of course, the mainstream aspects, because we have seen it many times where wrestling has crossed over to mainstream, but it's like consistently. It's like we've seen like a one and done just like that, but not on a consistent rolling basis, especially with WWE, with their relationship with ESPN, that kind of, well, the relationship has been there before, but taking it to another level, really having that relationship. Obviously, ESPN, you can watch all the WWE PLEs on there, but this is kind of really a big deal when it comes to the sports Emmys, and especially being nominated. That's actually a big deal. I'm not gonna lie, some of the graphics have been really fire promoting this show. If you saw some of the graphics, the graphic that I just showed, also the one with Seth Rollins, that was one when they promoted it. But it's a really big deal, and really want to give props to not just like people working on it, but it is a big deal. And I'm a person that likes behind the scenes stuff on how it works, how like the process works, how everything else. But kudos to them. I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up getting 1 Emmy.
They've been nominated for 3. I would be surprised if they didn't get at least 1. But again, at the end of the day, they got the nod. That is huge. So kudos to everyone involved.
Yes, kudos to everyone involved. Everybody involved. So we go from one wrestling promotion to another happening at the top of the hour. And I'm talking about AEW Dynamite that is happening. Yours truly will be on the watch along for Timeless Elite Wednesdays. Need I say more with this graphic? We have Swerve Strickland versus Kenny Omega. If Swerve Strickland wins, he will be an EVP. If Kenny Omega wins, he will be the new #1 contender for the AEW World Heavyweight title. There is a lot at stake, but I know these two men are really going to put a lot of fire in this match. And we also have the AEW Women's Championship match. And after the big buzz regarding Toni Storm, Tekla had a few words to say on Collision, and Mina Shirokana is stepping up to the plate. These two ladies know each other very well from their Stardom days and know there will be a lot of physicality between these two. And we're also, for the first time ever, we're going to have Roosh taking on Darby Allin. We know Darby Allin is on his quest to be AEW World Champion, but he has a few bumps in the road, and it starts off tonight with Roosh. And then, of course, we have the conglomerations, my main squeeze, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, teaming up with Roderick Strong to take on David Finlay and Clark Connor of the Dogs. All this and more happening at the top of the hour on AEW Dynamite, live tonight on TBS, while simulcast on HBO Max. And Hope, is there any match in particular that you're looking forward to see on Dynamite?
I'm all Swerve, baby. I'm all Swerve. You know, I love Kenny Omega, but that match, this Swerve, this is going to be fire. It will be interesting to see how far they go. This is a dangerous Swerve. This is not the kinder or gentler Swerve. This is a Swerve with an attitude or a bigger attitude than before. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. The ladies too, but without question, Kenny versus Swerve.
Yeah, that is a good match. Oh, and I forgot one more thing that was on the slide, and it wasn't on purpose. MJF is making his return tonight.
Oh,
He's making his return tonight, and I'm sure he's gonna have a lot to say. But definitely Swerve and Kenny, they tore the house down. But Brody King is looking, because he still has some beef with Swerve, because they had a really good match. Yes, they had. I know, Jeffrey, and I said this last week. I'm trying to imagine myself as Swerve as an EVP, because I have some thoughts, but I'll share more of it on my watch along. But I'm trying to imagine him being an EVP and really wrecking havoc on almost every person on that roster.
I you know, but would it be any worse than the Authority back in the day? Really? How much the havoc they created?
I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, obviously the ladies, I'm very happy for Tekla, because Tekla has that and I was very happy that I got to meet her last summer, because she's a very, very chill and deep down to earth person. But the character that she plays is just like, you need that heel factor in there. I mean, I know Mercedes, she plays a heel very great, but there's just something about Tekla that just oozes that aura right there. And Jeffrey, but she just oozes that, and I think that's something that she's gonna do, especially as women's champion. I don't want for her to drop the belt, but I know sooner or later she is. But she just has that, and I'm very curious on what's gonna happen. And then of course Mina Shirokana, she's gonna be facing off against her familiar foe. Darby Allin, Roosh, for the first time ever. As I mentioned, Darby's going on a quest. He's on a quest on being AEW World Champion, but he has a few bumps on the road that he has to deal with. So it's going to be very interesting to see how his story is going to play in. I mean, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, they're together again as a conglomeration. Very going to be intriguing on how them and the War Dogs, because it's starting to build up a little bit. Very curious on where this is going to go. But yeah, that's our preview.
It's a solid card. So yeah, looking forward to it.
And also it's gonna be a good solid card, but like I said, top of the hour on TBS, simulcast on Max. But you don't have to watch AEW Dynamite alone. You could actually watch it with me, because I will be with you for 2 hours, because we're on the road to Dynasty. So far we have one match, Edge and Christian. Yes, and I'm not going to call them from the AEW names. I'm going to call them Edge and Christian.
That's right.
Edge and Christian taking on FTR for the AEW World Titles, and I hope that is the main event for Dynasty.
I hope so too. I do the same thing. It's like, Cope, what? No, Edge.
I just can't. I just can't. I just really, really can't.
Nope. Edge always.
But speaking of that, we do want to talk about, because March is Women's History Month, And we just can't like skip a beat on this. This is the Women's Wrestling Archive. This is something TK Trinidad created because this gives an opportunity for women, not just on the major promotions, everywhere. And it doesn't have to be women's wrestlers. It could be broadcasting, ring announcers, everywhere in the wrestling business. But this is something that she created for the Women's Wrestling Archive, and it's a really great opportunity to showcase all the women representing the past, the present, and the future of women's wrestling.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches 2026, and it's going to pave the way for all women's wrestling.
Because if we don't document it, a man might say he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today.
Everything that comes to it regarding the Women's Wrestling Archive, all support happenings. We do have some little news regarding TNA because we know Friday is TNA Sacrifice, and it's one of the standouts from the Knockouts division, Miss Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell had an interview today, and I'm going to try to do this because the link for Fightful is not working, but she did have an interview earlier today on being brought up to TNA, and she really talked about, I had Gail Kim reach out to me. I don't know if I ever saw myself going there, but I guess everything happens for a reason. And in the interview, she kind of goes further into detail about the process of being a part of TNA, and also her goal is continuing. Well, obviously her goal is being TNA Knockouts champion, but we know the reigning champion is Ariana Grace. And she did recall that moment when Gail Kim reached out to her. It was definitely a pivotal moment for her, especially being in the Knockouts division. Gail Kim, she's an innovator. She's an OG of the TNA Knockouts, but she really recalled that moment being good and also the process being in TNA. But Hope, I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on this as well. And I wanted to see, did you ever had the chance of so far watching Indy's tenure during TNA so far?
I have, and she's a star. I thought, her exit from WWE was in error, but look where she is and look what she's going to do. And when you look at a trailblazer like Gail Kim reaching out, that speaks volumes, because Gail Kim and others from that era don't just reach out for their health. If they're reaching out, it's because they see something in them. And this, oh gosh, India will be fine. She'll be fine. I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. I think she's going to be fine. She really made a really good impact so far within TNA. I'm very happy so far. I know her goal is definitely, because I believe that she will be TNA Knockouts champion.
Absolutely.
Hopefully before the end of this year. And also, when I had the chance to interview her last summer at WrestleCon,
Nice.
She really did talk about reuniting with some of the, at that time, she had a few Aussie friends. Like, of course, the Inspiration were there at that time, Stepton Lander, and also her fellow Aussies being there, and also talking about her goal being TNA Knockouts champion. And it was a really great interview. I'm very happy to see Indy do amazing things. Hopefully we do get to see her more on TV time, because like I said, Ariana Grace is the reigning TNA Knockouts champion, and she has a really big bullet on her back. Very happy to be there. She has a big bullet on her back. Nothing against her wrestling wise, but she has a big bullet on her back because she has Jody Threat. She has, as Jeffrey said, she has Mara Sade, Elena Black. You could throw in Tessa Blanchard in there too. It is very real. So it's going to be very interesting on how this is going to play out.
But she'll get the belt in the end, whether it's towards the end of the year or this time. I will be very surprised if she doesn't have this wrap this time next year.
I'm gonna keep saying it. Indy Hartwell will be TNA Knockouts champion either by the end of this year or early 2027. I'm gonna keep saying it. And Dylan's gonna do a montage of it. I'm saying I believe she will be TNA Knockouts champion. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. But we go from TNA to actually a WWE person that I will call him a legend because he's been in there and the transformation is amazing. Mark Marrow. Mark Marrow did an interview with Chris Van Vliet on yesterday. He did one yesterday, and he talked about his life, especially after wrestling, because he's now a professional speaker. He travels speaking with all different schools and everything else, being a motivational speaker. But he had one segment in particular that he talked about in his interview during Chris Van Vliet. And we were talking about this last year on WWT. Mark Marrow says that Sable deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And he further goes into detail saying, oh, absolutely. The women's division, they didn't really have a women's division so much back then at all. But she brought eyes to the channels. The ratings and everything were very high because of her. I think it has a lot to do with she always wanted to be in the spotlight, and then she had a big part of the spotlight, and then getting married. They live a very private life. She just stays out of the spotlight, and that's what they chose because she doesn't do wrestling conventions. I don't think she's ever at Raw or SmackDown with Brock, but that's just what they choose, and you got to respect that for her. Hope, I want to get into further details because we did talk about this last year before you came on for WWT, and we did have a conversation on Sable being in the WWE Hall of Fame. Do you?
He absolutely belongs in the Hall of Fame. I remember when Sable walked out with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. At the time, Sunny was the it girl, but Sunny wasn't a wrestler. She was managing everybody. And she had a fan base without question. But until that Slammies show and Sable came out in that itsy bitsy teeny weeny crossover bathing suit, that's when her star rose, like freaking skyrocketed to the point where it knocked Sunny out of orbit. She became the ultimate manager, the ultimate wrestler, even though she wasn't necessarily the best female grappler, but some of her the people that she were up against were legendary, a la Jackie. It was her rise during that time was unlike anything we had ever seen for a female at that time. She did Playboy once or twice. And that might be one of the reasons why there may be some hesitation there. But at the end of the day, if Mark is in a place where he can forgive her, because at the time she was married, obviously to Mark Marrow, she's now married to Brock. I totally can see her being put into the Hall of Fame. She deserves it. She helped to put WWE at the time on the map. I mean, she blew up, like literally talking about crossing over into shows and things of that nature. And I mean, she was all over the place until she wasn't. And we know what happened with the lawsuit. And I mean, let's keep it real. Pro wrestlers, promoters in particular, even though Vince is gone, I mean, Triple H is still there, son-in-law, they have long memories. So does she belong? Abso-freaking-lutely. Will she get in? I would like to see it, but we'll see.
I said this last year. I said, if you can put the Bellas in the Hall of Fame, I don't know why you can't put Sable in the Hall of Fame, because you kind of explained. I'm just saying, I mean, Sable needs to be, because, for that period, I know with everything, she blew up that quickly.
Yes,
And
she
I
did.
saw archive footage of it. And, she was one of the biggest ones alongside Stone Cold Steve Austin, who
Uh-huh.
was also a box office draw during that period. She was close to a second.
She was.
And
She
she was
was.
that close. And I think people tend to forget about that. Of course, she didn't take any bubs because, of course, she had the feud with Jackie, also with Luna, Vashon.
Yes.
Even after that match, it was a little bit messy.
The
But with,
oddities. Yeah, I
yes,
almost forgot about the oddities.
yes, it was so crazy. But for me, I just think Sable did put an impact in there. And also with the fact too, yes, she did pose for Playboy, but who else has a pose for Playboy in WWE?
It's
I'm
why I
just pointing
say
that out there.
China should be in the Hall of Fame. Sable should be in the Hall of Fame. Miss Elizabeth definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. Should have been the first one, female wise, as the former first lady of wrestling. I hope someday her family um will move past, their reason. Obviously we have to respect their wishes, but she deserves it. Nancy, woman, fallen angel,
Mhm.
deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame in some capacity. I even believe Sapphire should be in the Hall of Fame. Sherry's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we could both go through a laundry list of ladies who deserve to
I don't know
be
if Wendy,
in the Hall of Fame. Hmm?
yeah, I don't know if Wendy is in the Hall of Fame. Wendy Richter.
I feel like she is, but do not hold me to that, because there are a number of people who I thought Demolition was in the Hall of Fame, and here they are getting inducted this year. So, but yeah,
I
if
know.
she's not, Wendy Richter should definitely be in the Hall of Fame if she's not.
Yeah, that's something because we've been talking about this for a year. And I mean, like I said, if you can put the Bellas in, why can't you put Sable in? That's all I have to, that's all I got to say.
Girl, don't get me started. That's a whole
Try-
other. And
it's,
that's not hate. It really isn't hate on the Bellas, but I remember the wow, the pop. I mean, Sable in some ways changed the game for the women's division. Whether you like the Tata enhancements or not, I mean, she changed the division, and she crossed over and she made an impact, and she had a following that did not discriminate. Everybody loved her. um and she was very supportive of the fans, so appreciative, because not all of them are appreciative of
yes.
the fans, but she's very much appreciative. So I hope that she gets inducted. Yes, I hope that she gets inducted.
Yes, her with many other women. And
Yes.
thank you, Jeffrey and Boza, for confirming. Wendy Richter was in the Hall of Fame in 2010.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So Wendy was in the Hall of Fame, but we're from the past women that paved the way. We're talking to the current and future stars of women's wrestling. And one of them is Kalani Jordan. She was on Busted Open last night after NXT. And she did talk about a lot of things. Obviously, of course, she talked about possibly maybe she doesn't need the NXT Women's Championship. She'll probably get called up. But one segment in particular, she did talk about if the main roster is next, I have my eyes on the US and Intercontinental Championships. She goes further into detail while speaking with Bully Ray from Busted Open. She spoke about her potential main roster call up, noting if she were called up, she would target the women's US and Intercontinental Championships. She goes on to say, I would love to go to the main roster. I would love to be able to be on a bigger platform, but also be able to wrestle girls who are on the next level. I would love that. Raw, SmackDown, I'm ready. Of course, if the NXT Women's Championship is in my future, that's great. But if the main roster is next, I have my eyes on the US Championship and the Intercontinental Championship.
Didn't she just get married?
Yes, she did. Congratulations to her, sending a big congratulations to her and Carmelo Hayes.
Mhm. Yeah, she's moved. She'll be on SmackDown soon. Congrats. Congrats. Seriously, congrats. She will be fine. I mean, she's a star, both in and out of the ring. And I have to say, as someone who's been watching it for many, to see Black love, from Booker to Charmel still being together now, with Trick and Lash engaged, and now the recent ceremony, between she and Carmelo Hayes. It warms my heart, because it wasn't that long ago where you simply would not have seen that with us. A lot of relationships in wrestling, for a host of reasons, don't last. It's nice. It warms my heart, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them, and I'm excited for her.
It does. And, I think we did talk about this because Kehlani is going to be a star regardless. I know people say SmackDown. I would not be shocked if she did Raw either, but they are going to need some help.
But is Carmelo on SmackDown?
Yes, he is.
He's going to SmackDown.
well, yeah, that is true.
There's a possibility, because here's the thing. You're right, though, because WrestleMania, they usually do a shift. So if he goes to, I'll put it like this: she'll go where he go.
It's like Last Legend. She's on SmackDown, and who else is on SmackDown?
Trick.
It's just one of those. It's just one of those things, and it's funny you mentioned the R race. It's nice and warming to see there is romance within our community. There is healthy romance. There's Booker T and Charmel, you mentioned, Bianca Belair and Montez Ford.
Yes, Bianca, yes, how can I forget them? Absolutely.
Yeah, Bianca Belair and Montez Ford, and also Brandy and Cody Rhodes, even though people call him Raheem. You gotta put Brandy in there.
I cracked up when I saw that. I was like, oh God. Oh, God. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you can include them too. Might as well, yeah.
Because I mean, you got to put the Raheem in there, so you got to include Miss Brandy Rhodes. But I think it would be good for Kehlani. Like, if she was on SmackDown, I think it would give a boost for the United States women's division, because it has been very, I don't want to say hard to watch, but of course, Chelsea, she's injured and she's only doing as much as she can. Julia, she's kind of defending with Tiffany Stratton, but we're seeing Kiana James kind of step out of her comfort zone, and she's getting more of a spotlight than Julia is, since she's the reigning Women's United States champion. And we haven't seen Jordynne Grace in a while after she got defeated by Jade Cargill.
This is the thing, I support the ladies, obviously. I'm rooting for the ladies, but it goes back to my concern with NXT. I understand the premise of it, but sometimes if you pull too many up at once, it's like, I don't care how long you make the show. If people aren't ready, people may get lost in the shuffle. I mean, there are solid folks who aren't getting opportunities. And then there are people who are getting opportunities who clearly aren't ready, but that's a whole other segment. I don't want to see anyone lose their job. Definitely not. But there's some great lady wrestlers on both brands, on both the red brand, on both the blue brand. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens as we get closer to Mania and what happens after Mania. And a whole lot, and I do mean a whole lot, can happen between now and then.
Hard to believe we're only a few weeks away.
Scary.
We're a few weeks away from Vegas. But like you said, and actually we were talking about this the last couple of weeks, and even though the peeps over at Kayfabe podcast were talking about the storytelling and also the creative within the women's division. Matches are there. It's just the storyline has been a little bit shaky. But I think it's going to be interesting between now and Vegas on how this is going to execute, and especially after WrestleMania, because of course they got Backlash, they got Clash in Italy, but also obviously, of course, we know it's the road to SummerSlam.
That part, and barring no one else gets injured. My goodness.
I hope. Well, I hope not. From speaking of injuries, and a person that, even though he's not medically cleared, he's made an appearance on Raw, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I had to put a segue in for Seth, even though he's not medically cleared yet. But Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch over this past week have announced the launch of their new coffee brand, AMO, crediting 7 years of traveling the world together as the inspiration for their future venture. The husband and wife duo announced this on their socials that it will go on sale next month. Rollins explained the personal story behind the brand. He mentioned for the past 7 years, we've been traveling the world together. We've been trying different coffees in different countries, different continents, different cities all over the world. We've fallen in love with coffee, and AMO is our way of bringing that love to you. And Becky also adds in her words saying, in the next few weeks, we're going to have some big events. And they teased an announcement a few days prior with a social media post featuring a photo of the coffee stand. And actually, a little fact in there, the venture marks a return to the coffee business for Seth Rollins, who helped open a coffee shop called 392 D Port in his hometown of Davenport, Iowa, 7 years ago. That shop remains in operation today, giving Rollins industry experience heading into this new project with his wife, the man, Becky Lynch.
I love it. I think this is so smart. Partially because people sometimes forget that wrestlers are contractors. You need to be smart, venture out. Heaven forbid you get, Seth hasn't been officially cleared. Heaven forbid, Becky gets injured. If they get injured again, what happens? You got to be smart and have a backup plan. I love that they're doing this together. I think it'll be a success. I personally can't wait. And if they have a cold brew, I'm on it. Definitely.
I know. I love it when wrestlers venture out into other businesses, because some people tend to forget, as you mentioned, there are contractors and we don't have a wrestlers union, which that's a whole conversation I will say for another day. But also it gives an opportunity for them to venture out into different opportunities in industries and everything else. And I'm happy to see people like Seth and Becky opening up their new coffee. I mean, Jeffrey, is that you saying Courtney or Bleacher? Jeffrey, I'm trying not to, but I don't know. I mean, that's what everybody's saying. That's what Seth's saying. But anyways, if they do keep making move in the East Coast, I would love to try out their coffee. And I love to support wrestlers when they venture out into different business areas and just really keeping the groundwork and having that back pocket, just creating opportunities out of nothing. And I really do love that for them. And also bringing their daughter into the ropes, because they get to see mom and dad work out, but also be loving parents, but also focus on their business too. And I love that the coffee shop that Seth did 7 years ago is still running to this day in his hometown. It makes me really happy to see.
Absolutely. And you know what wrestler or wrestling manager has outstanding coffee, believe it or not? Nana.
Yes.
Coffee. I ordered some. I was just doing it to support, but I gotta say that's some serious coffee. If those, in the chat, if you haven't tried it, try Prince Nana's coffee. It is delish. It really is. And affordable, reasonable.
Shout outs to Prince Nana, by the way, because he does have some good coffee from my heart, because I always see him drink coffee right on Dynamite. And also, Honey and I had the chance to meet him too at the Queen of the Ring premiere. He's a very nice man. He's very
Another who's
approachable and he's
supportive.
very nice.
Agreed. Agreed.
He is. But yeah, he does have coffee. So make sure to support Prince Nana with his coffee. But like I said, it's just wonderful to see wrestlers venture out into other businesses. It just makes me happy to see them doing their own thing. Love wrestling, but also doing their own things.
Yes, and they're doing their things with the coffee. They're doing their things in acting. It's smart, it's wise, it makes financial sense because Becky may, and she's hinted around that this may be her final run with WWE. So it's a perfectly smart venture, especially while the money is still there. Build on it.
That's pretty much true. But that's the stories that I have for today's edition of WWT Live. But Hope, is there anything that I missed?
Do you want to talk about Braun or no?
Which
we
one?
Can or don't. We don't have to.
Which one? Braun Breaker or Braun Strowman?
Oh, I guess that's true. Breaker, but we don't have to. That can keep until Friday.
Yeah. Is it about his injury? Like his road of recovery?
Being at the QC, I think.
Yeah, I think Honey talked about it on Monday.
Okay, well, we'll leave it alone.
Yeah, man, we know about Mr. Braun Breaker. We know about Braun. We know he's on a recovery, so we do send him wishes on a speedy recovery. And we see him back
don't injure himself, because that's how they mess up. They want to get back in. We want to see them back in, but they push and they re-injure themselves, and it just delays the process. We would all love to see him return at WrestleMania, but only if his body will allow.
Yes. We shall see if his body allows. That's all it is. We want to make sure they're healthy, they're ready to go. Because the worst case scenario, if they don't pair at WrestleMania, they can pair at SummerSlam.
Or the Monday after Mania. That's a big one too. Absolutely.
Yes. So, but we shall see on that. But that wraps up Wednesday's Hump Day edition of WWT Live. And Lynette, we will be talking about SmackDown on Friday because I did see Julia and Tiffany Stratton. So we will be talking more about that on Friday, especially because we also do have bold predictions for TNA Sacrifice, which is also happening on Friday. But Hope, where can the people find you?
You all can find me on all of the social channels. Hope Waddy, Waddy, aka Honey's Baby. You can also follow me on Pro Wrestling Post. Follow me, and I'll be sure to follow you.
Yes. And I mean, you can always find me. Well, you're going to find me top of the hour for AEW Dynamite happening because we are on the road to Dynasty and there's going to be a lot of matches. So you want to make sure to hang 2 hours with me, get you all the thrills, the actions, and the chills because it's going to be a packed Dynamite happening tonight. Also, make sure you can follow me on my socials at CourtneyNJ11 on Twitter and Instagram because I do have a lot of content happening. Please make sure to check out content because I was at Fourth Rope over the weekend. So shout out to Westside Gun, Smoke Dizza, and everybody else because I will be going into more detail on Fourth Rope during my watch along for AEW Dynamite.
Oh, I want to hear about MVP.
You want to hear?
Did you get a chance to meet him or see him? Because I haven't seen him since last year, literally.
Well, it's funny. Me and Honey met him at Queen of the Ring last year during the red carpet. That was the first time I met Westside Gun. He's a very cool and chill person.
Okay.
Super cool, super chill. But I know he was a busy man because when I was sitting there, I saw him sitting up atop. It was him, Smoke Dizza. They were sitting up there. But it was just so fun being at Fourth Rope. I mean, obviously, Chris Statlander being there, and that just like blew me away because I was like, oh my God. Yeah. That was very much a surprise. Obviously, Beanie Siegel being there rapping, it was just it was so amazing to watch because a little fact in there in his shooting in 2014, Pleasantville, New Jersey is not far from me. And when news broke out of that shooting, it caused, I would not say a wildfire, but just it just put waves onto mainstream. But I'm very happy he's recovering because I know during the shooting he had a collapsed lung. But it makes me good that he looks well, he's doing well. I'm very happy to see that. Also seeing the Sandman make an appearance on, he made an appearance. Zilla Fatu made an appearance. Enzo, the infantry were in tag team action. It was just so nice to see the blend of wrestling and hip hop, because it's been that way for years. It's been that way for years. A lot of people don't know that, but just seeing it for the culture and not like a culture vulture, it's just nice seeing that. And also with MVP being the commissioner, it just makes me happy to see.
It does. I'm glad you got to go and experience it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We got to try and get them on maybe.
It was fun. On socials, they're gonna next the next town. So if it's near you, I highly recommend going to Fourth Rope. It was really incredible. And also, if you will be in North Jersey next week, I will be at WrestlePro's 10-year anniversary. I'm very excited to go to that. There's going to be a few names from WrestlePro as well. Ricochet will be there without his AEW National Championship. We will see the Gates of Agony, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, Lady Frost, along with many others. So make sure to celebrate 10 years of WrestlePro. And I will be there in person next weekend. I'm very excited. Also, like I said, make sure to check out my socials. Please follow ISPW Wrestling, because they have many shows that are happening, not just in spring, but also summer. They are really ramping up with shows. So if you're in New Jersey, you love independent wrestling, please, please, please give them a follow. Shout out to everybody from our WWT crew, everybody for their hard work and everything else. I know our boss lady and Will, they're on a cruise right now, but they're for work. It's for work. It's for work purposes. Not for fun. It's for work. But shout outs to all of them, and shout outs to Honey and Dion, because they got the Kayfabe podcast tomorrow. So they'll be getting a lot from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and anything else. And shout out to everybody in the chat from Boza, Jeffrey, Saucy Irish Mama, Aaron Teagle, Lynette, and of course our producer from the future, Dylan. Happy to be with all of you on this Wednesday edition. And thank you for supporting Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.